Hey there, welcome to Abolitionists Live. I'm your host, Blair Pippin, and I am here with our CEO and founder, Tomas Lars. Tomas?
Yes, hello to all our friends and partners across the United States, and we just got our first one in the United Kingdom for United Abolitionist Network. And we're just so excited that we're able to share every week with you. And of course, we're going to be putting in some special Facebook Lives, Blair, like we did last week with Gene Alert and then Angela Stevens that came in town. So get ready for those special guests. But today, Blair, what's our topic of discussion?
Yeah, so we're kicking off a new series for you. And if you've been to our abolitionist trainings, you've heard about the different players and kind of the different characters that are involved in human trafficking. And so these are, you have the victims themselves, the survivors. You have the traffickers, you have the buyers, and then you have abolitionists. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to touch on each of those different players that are involved, and just so that you can learn more about really this issue of human trafficking and how different people are involved in different ways. And so today we're going to touch on the issue of the buyers. They're known in sex trafficking, they're known as Johns, and how the reality that there is a demand for people who want to pay for sex. And so because of that demand, it really fuels human trafficking. So Tomas, could you touch on this a little more and share why does demand really fuel this issue?
Sure. So many of you have heard me say, like, there's a root right to the bad fruit. And that root is the demand. We all know the concept of supply and demand, right? There wouldn't be a product if there wasn't a demand for it. And so we know that human trafficking would not exist if there was not a demand on the sex trafficking side to buy sex, right? Mm-hmm. Of all different sorts. And then on the labor trafficking side, the supply line, right? And so we hear a lot in the news about, right now NAFTA and the agreement with Mexico and Canada and it's a lot of times China. Well, that all fuels the labor trafficking, which we're going to talk about in these coming weeks. But today we're going to focus on the demand for sex trafficking. And that demand, again, exists because, unfortunately, people want to buy sex. And, you would think sometimes that even those that are married, those that may have a relationship, there was a big sting recently, actually yesterday in Lake County, Florida, where 40 individuals were arrested, right, thinking they're going to a home. They set up these things county by county here in Florida, thinking they're going to go have sex with a 14-year-old boy or girl, depends on what the operation is. And so we know that there's a demand to have sex with minors and also to buy it. Mm-hmm. And so the issue of demand is very important because I believe, I know, Blair, that we're not going to end human trafficking, which is our mission, our vision, until the demand is also addressed.
Right, yeah, because traffickers ultimately just want to make money.
Greed.
Right?
Yes.
It's greed that really drives it. And so
Correct.
If nobody's willing to buy,
Yep.
then they go out of business.
They would go out of business. And so we know that sex sells, right? That's why they use it in advertisements. In our training we talk about, everyone in almost every culture now will say, prostitution is the oldest, profession, right? And we learned from our friend Benji at Exodus Cry that no, it's the oldest oppression. That a little girl or a little boy doesn't get up at 5, 7 years old and say, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to be an escort, a prostitute. That's something that is learned. That's something that usually there's not another opportunity. Maybe there's trauma, abuse. And so that demand is what's fueling the issue of human trafficking. And so we really want to take a stand. As many of you know, we have a demand prevention program here at Florida Abolitionists, and the leader is Marcos Perez, who has been going around doing groups like the Conquerors with young men, and also talking about the social science really factors in sex trafficking, whether it's the link to pornography, addiction, and those type of things fuel people then to go and buy it.
Right.
And so that's something that we know that is, again, the root of the bad fruit of human trafficking.
Right, yeah, we see Tomas and Marcos works with men especially who
Yes.
struggle with sex addiction, with pornography addiction, and helps them find freedom from that. And if they're free from that, then they're not going to go and buy sex. But if they stay addicted, that's what's going to lead
Yes.
down that road of wanting more and more risky behavior as it relates to it.
And the research is showing that there's also many women are addicted to sex and pornography.
Sure.
And so Marcos, in the next year, we're going to be looking at starting a women's group.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that. But part of our plans, you know that our concept, friends, is that we look for positive solutions, right, of this horrible crime of human trafficking. And so one of the things is that we're feeling ourselves really in getting ready for January is the awareness month for slavery and trafficking here in the United States. And so we're going to do a couple things. Not only are we going to have a prayer initiative like we usually do in January, 31 days of prayer actually. We're going to partner with the Faith Alliance now with Dr. Joel Hunter and Dee Coleman from Samaritan Village. But also we're going to have that weekend of prayer where there'll be options. We're going to have a venue here in downtown Orlando for folks to come and gather on that weekend. So more news about that. But also we have somebody that's starting Men Against Trafficking. And so they're going to be featured at the Awareness Day. It's actually the 11th annual Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Blair, I think you came like at the third or fourth one.
I think so.
So it's been all these years. But, you know, we're excited because we're going to really start addressing the demand. And again, it's just not men, there's women as well that are feeling the demand of sex trafficking. But we want to start addressing it. You know, what are the roots? What are the precipitating factors? You know, why does somebody want to buy sex when they may have, you know, just an incredible partner? And, you know, so there's all these psychological reasons, but we mainly want to let people know that there is help and there's hope for change. And so, you know, those are some of the things that I wanted to share this afternoon.
That's awesome. I love the idea of Men Against Trafficking, that you and I,
Yes.
they join us as many times it is men who are the perpetrators. And so
Sure.
as men, how can we be the abolitionists and really be the advocate
Yes.
to help stop it as well?
Absolutely.
And so that's fantastic. If you are interested in learning more about our demand prevention program, just visit our website, stophumantrafficking.com, and you can get connected with Marcos Perez on our leadership page. He would love to connect with you. He's a great speaker. He could come to your organization, your church, your Bible study, whatever it might be, and speak about the issue. He could also consider starting groups to help men and women upcoming in your community to help deal with this issue. But we would love to be a resource to you in that way. But thanks so much for giving us your time. We appreciate you. Thanks for your partnership, and look out for the rest of this series as we'll address the other players that are involved in the issue of human trafficking. And we'll see you soon.